7:30, we will call the meeting, our June 8th, for the Board of Adjustments to order. Secretary, please record the roll. On our minutes, we haven't met for quite some time, so we have to approve our August 12th, 2019 minutes and February 10th, 2020 minutes. And they were submitted in your packet. Is there a motion? Can we approve both of them at the same time? Individually?
Yep.
Ken? Either way? Okay, let's do it both at one time.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve both the August 12th, 2019 and February 10th, 2020 minutes presented to us as in our packets.
Motion by Pat. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trevor. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried without dissent. Thank you, gentlemen. Regular agenda for June 8th. First on, we have two on our list to consider a variance request to reduce the front yard lot width from the required 45 feet to 40 feet.
Mr. Chairman,
Pardon me?
sorry for the interruption, board members. There's one other item that I'd like to add to the agenda.
Okay.
I'd add a motion to discuss the Board of Adjustment becoming the City of Dickinson's weed board after we're done with our regular Board of Adjustment meeting.
Okay, so we'll add that as number 3.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I should have went through the agenda here and asked for addition. Okay. Okay, thank you, Leonard. Anything else to add to the agenda? Okay, sorry about that. Or I'm asking for a second on the minutes now. Oh, I did have that. And that squared away, didn't we? Okay. So we're in number 1 to consider the variance request to reduce the front yard side lot width from the required 45 feet to 40 feet on an R3 zone lot. The site is located at 1239 and 1253 24th Street West, Lot 7A and 7B, Block 4 of Country Oaks Estate, 2nd edition. Who's here to speak for that? You go to the podium and give us your name and all the particulars here, what you want to do.
My name is Matt McCoy. I'm with Sullivan Construction. At the time that we built these twin homes, they were built to code, and that was for square feet. But then the code switched here recently, and now it's based on lot width. So we'd just like to split this twin home to sell the property. And we split one with the exact same specs last year, and you guys approved it and split it. There was 2 right on the street that is split. So we'd like to finish it up and split the last 2.
Okay. Leonard, do you have a comment first before we?
Yes, actually, with Mr. McCoy's assessment, I disagree with it. The code did not change. What changed is that these properties, twin home duplex, that's the way they were built. Essentially, it's a single structure if you look at the definition of a duplex. What's happened in the past, which this board has approved these splits, is after that structure was built as a duplex for a number of years, that's how it operated. And then all of a sudden we're going to sell one side. And in order to sell and keep them as a single family attached, this board would have to approve that. And that's where the requests for these lot splits are done. It was built per code based on the lot size. What's happening, again, is that split is making it underneath the code requirements. Every structure that's single family attached, people use the term twin home. You won't find the word twin home in the building code. The state mandates that they be built with a 2-hour wall. That's how we build, whether it's a duplex, single-family attached, or even a threeplex. There's a 2-hour wall in between each one. If there was a fire in one, it'd burn to the ground without affecting, hopefully, the other properties. So as far as that requirement, reducing it from 45 to 40, that's what Ms. McCoy
That's
is
our
here.
our main concern. Okay, comments or questions from the board?
Any
Bruce?
idea how many of these buildings we'll be dealing with?
That,
How many were built this way that's gonna come to this board?
Well, I guess I could ask Mr. McCoy if they have any others out there. At one point in time, we had a lot of structures built, and the developer built them per the code. And then they come in to sell off each one individually after the fact. So again, it's up to this board whether to accept it or not. What the hardship isn't for the developer, it's for that person who already bought the structure now. So it's kind of a hard decision to make on your part. If you say no, it remains that duplex. Doesn't mean that somebody can't still own each side. It just makes it harder for whoever built it or has that for sale. But I haven't done any research. They were built per code, whether it's a twin home or a threeplex, a fourplex. We've had come in front of this board, I think 2 years ago, where there was actually the 4, units, townhomes that came in and were split. After their intention on the building permit says they may say they're never going to split these up or sell them. Well, our times, essentially, how they would look at it made them want to split these up and sell them.
So what are the options for the buyers if we determine that we don't wanna split these? Do they sell it as like a condo? Because you can go in an apartment building and sell every apartment like a condo. I mean, what are the options for the buyers?
I guess I'd maybe refer that to Chairman Ernst as far as his experience with that, but I would guess that would be the way to go about it. Might make it harder to actually sell that property. I would believe that would be the case because we're having these splits come before you.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah, I believe that would be the case also, that you would have to do some sort of association for the common area or like the shared land then, and you're selling off each thing, sharing the land, if you can't split the land. I do have a comment too, just on that. I have built at least one similar to this that we split right when we built it. And I do remember there was, let's just say it wasn't 100% clear of like how easy some of these would be to split in the future. Like, I know we were allowing, or I don't know if it was who exactly, but when they build these and split them right away, they were able to split them right away. So maybe that was some of the confusion with the code change, what he's perceiving as a code change. And maybe there wasn't a code change, but the city was allowing them to split them immediately when you applied for the permit.
And generally, I believe if the split took place on yours, the width was there.
Okay.
The planning and zoning actually reduced the width of lots to allow more of this type of development.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Sean.
what the width used to be then?
I believe it was
45 now?
I believe it was 50.
Okay. In this area, he's referenced that we've done this in the past, and I seem to recall there's a couple of them on that street that are just like this.
Correct.
Pretty close.
Correct.
With the width being down to 40, does the lot still conform to what would be required outside of the width?
On the single-family
Width-wise?
yes, Chairman Soren, 4,000 is the number on a single-family attached.
Okay, so he has that.
Yes.
Are there any others like this in the area that are still
These
that
are
you own, or is this the last?
these are the last two. Like I said previously, we split this last year, so these are the last two, and then we'll move on from here.
With the lots that are there that are undeveloped, are there they're gonna be 80 foot, I'm guessing, because that's what these are. Are you still gonna do single-family attached type things? Are we gonna
That's not,
run into this
I'm not
problem?
the owner,
or-
so that's not my call. That's a good question. I cannot answer that question, I guess, for you. I'm not sure what the owner wants to do with those undeveloped lots.
Chairman Soren, I have spoken with the owners with the use of those lots, and we have had the discussion that a permit will not be issued for a single-family attached prior to, unless they came in front of this board and you approve that lot for such a use. It will happen first before the structure is built.
Okay.
Pat, any comments, questions? Bruce?
Mr. Chairman, so did we set a precedence last time we approved the variance? Did we set a precedence?
A precedence on doing this for
For anybody
anybody that wants to do it, and it meets all the requirements, lots, size, and possibly?
If that's the case, should we make a recommendation to the body that determines that new minimum of 40 feet that we allowed the change now, the variance? I'm just asking the question, I'm not making a suggestion, I'm just wondering if, how often are we gonna be faced with these? Is this gonna be common? Should we just make that recommendation?
Actually, Chairman Burke, that's why up front, it's going to be very specific when a developer is coming in and looking at the square footage of these lots, and if somebody's requesting a duplex, it's going to be very clear in that permit. Doesn't mean that they can't come in front of this board and ask for that variance. And I believe that's the way it should be, prior to, not after the fact. It's a hard decision for a board once that you have property owners that that's their home, is hanging in that balance.
Other comments by the board on that? Sean?
So have these units already been sold?
No. No, we have a buyer for it, but it has not been sold.
Other comments, questions? Are you ready for a decision?
Just one last
Go ahead.
comment, I guess. So what I'm hearing you say is even if someone's coming in for a duplex, you're gonna do your best to try and hold it to a single-family attached criteria moving forward as best you can, and if they can't meet that and still go forward with the duplex, are we gonna have to approve that first, or how do we stop it? Because obviously they've got 2 units here that got built as duplexes.
Duplexes will be permitted in R3, no matter what. If somebody applies for a permit for a duplex, they will get it. But the wording in the permit will be, I'm not sure what that wording will be yet, but as far as the future split. So I think it gives this board a better opportunity for a denial, because that developer, that owner was aware of it up front. And I believe we do a pretty good job of explaining that even on a duplex or what was deemed a twin home, that future splitting may be difficult. That was shared with the developers, even on the 4 units. But if somebody says, yeah, I'm not, we have no intentions of selling, that if it's allowed in the code, we will permit it.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more comment.
Trevor?
I know I brought this up in the past, but have we ever looked at the addressing thing where, like, since each side of this has its separate address, it appears it's already split, like if you just look at it from the street, you know, not knowing the code or anything like that, it appears that it already split, where if this was all labeled, you know, 1267, 25th Unit 1 and Unit 2, it would appear as it's one building, each side is a unit. If you address a duplex as the one address and you say one side has to be Unit 1, one side has Unit 2, I don't know if that would mess up as far as the fire department or anything is concerned, but I think it would help if they were addressed that way.
Okay. And I believe the duplexes of the past, if you actually research in our software, both numbers do come up.
Yes, I think that's right. Other comments? Christine, do you have anything? Okay, is there a motion to permit or deny?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to allow the variance as written.
I'll second.
Second by Sean. Motion by Bruce, second by Sean. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Bruce?
Aye.
Sean?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Okay, nice looking units, and hope everything works out there. Okay, second one, to consider a variance request to reduce the front yard lot width from the required 45 to 40 in the R3 lot, and this is the same on 24th Street, and this is lots 6A and 6B of the same block in Country Oaks Estate Second Edition. Any further discussion on this one?
Mr. Chairman, same criteria, the square footage meets the requirement.
Correct.
Any other comments? If not, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Sean?
make the motion to approve the variance as requested.
Motion by Sean, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Pat. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Sean?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, and then we'll go to our weed board discussion.
Board members, it has been brought to the building department as far as controlling the noxious weeds within the city of Dickinson. It's been, I'll say, a back and forth as far as responsibility between the county and the city to take care of the noxious weeds. With that said, I'd say in between that, let's just say neutral responsibility, a lot wasn't done. So what our intentions are to actually take that on and take care of some of the noxious weeds within the city of Dickinson jurisdiction. With that, the building department will be responsible for this. And the request this morning is we need a weed board in order to enact this ordinance. That's one of the criteria for that. I believe Randy sent out an email. I'm not sure as far as how many of you actually read the literature for that as far as the responsibilities. So the request would be for this board today, if that's something that you want to discuss, and if you would participate as being the City of Dickinson's weed board.
So you would like us to be Board of Adjustments, Board of Appeals, and Board of Weed Control? Is that-
Correct.
Okay.
Leonard, what would be some of the responsibilities that we would have under that jurisdiction?
If you actually go through, there's a mandated one meeting a month. As far as we're working on the ordinance right now, so it's really fresh.
Correct, Mr. Chairman, members. The Century Code is very specific in what is required with regard to noxious weed control. In fact, it's set out where there are the county requirements and then there are the city requirements. And your job would be essentially a quasi-board of appeal that an individual who gets assessed essentially for having noxious weeds has the ability to appeal that decision. That decision would come to this board for determination. So the city actually had a code specific to noxious weeds, and that was repealed, not sure when, but it was. So we are in the process of reenacting that code, but in order to do that, I think the common theme was to make sure that we had a board ready, willing to serve in that capacity to step into that role. Again, I don't anticipate that it's going to be a very time-intensive undertaking for the board, but again, you would serve in a capacity as an appeal driven board where you would meet in the event that there is an appeal and of course the regular required meetings.
Could that be done at the same time we had a Board of Adjustments meeting or after that? Have both of them at the same day?
To answer your question, Mr. Chairman, I think that would be completely fine. I don't anticipate, like I said, a very time-intensive meeting, and quite frankly, I think it's what is convenient for the board, that if you had this meeting adjourned and went right into the second one for the weed board, I don't see any issue with that procedurally.
We wouldn't have to be certified spray technicians or anything like that.
Correct, you do
Yeah.
not. I think the intent would be that Building and Codes would be the overseer, essentially, of the department, and that they would have the discretion and authority to transact or to subcontract with individuals that are qualified. If my understanding is that the department officials will have to potentially get certified, but I think the intent is that the city isn't going to be doing the spraying. That may change. But we are working through the enforcement side of things. But in order to get to that point, we have to have the board willing to step forward. We have to create the board. So I think the intent is that it's easier to go with what we have existing and then take it from there.
Mr. Chairman?
Bruce?
So what are the responsibilities of the city when you take over this, when you add this back into the code? And then what items would come before us?
Essentially what it would be, there's a very specific process. So if someone has noxious weeds on their property, it's very much like just the same similar concept with mowing. If someone has grass that's out of control or it's outside of code requirements, the city has to notify that individual of their noncompliance. They have to give them an adequate time to respond to that compliance, to that requesting for compliance. And then if they decide to appeal that, then they have to come to this board because the costs associated with getting those weeds under control is a cost that would be assessed against their property. So that is something that they could come back to this board and say, we don't agree with that, or could come to this board and say, we don't agree with the decision that we have noxious weeds. So again, it's more of a complaint-driven type of board where things are going to come back to you when a property owner disagrees with the Building and Codes assessment of what may or may not be on their property.
So it starts out with you, Leonard, is that right? Your department?
Correct.
You make a decision that
Correct.
this is a noxious weed? Okay.
You're gonna have to go to weed school to identify
Well,
prohibited and
Like I
restricted.
said, we're
noxious weeds.
already there.
Okay.
I'll be checking out your backyard tomorrow.
Comments
Mr.
by the
Chairman,
board?
do you have any, I mean, obviously you don't have a plan, but do you have any idea, like, the expenses you're talking about assessing the people? Because, I mean, that really the only reason we have the lawn board is because of the prices that the city charges people, really.
Well,
That's the only appeals we get is ever on the price.
what this code, it's actual cost, but we do actually have it on our fee schedule already, so it will reflect what's on our fee schedule. Right now, we actually have quite a few property owners that have some noxious weeds. Are actually, we saw this coming, so we actually reached out to them and brought it to their attention, whether they knew or not. And that so far, they've been receptive. But we still have to find some contractors, maybe for some larger areas, to see as far as who is certified to actually spray. And so we'll be looking at some costs per acre or how exactly they charge.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Sean?
But the intent is to certainly notify them, give them an opportunity to spray themselves or take care of them themselves, however, before you come in, or,
Absolutely,
and then last resort would be if nothing's taken care of, you would step in.
correct.
Leonard, do we have the process of getting these notices out, straightened out now? I know we had some issues with the grievance board or that we were on the last time we met. The mail was sent out and the guy didn't receive it or whatever. I mean, is that kind of ironed out?
You're always going to have whether or not somebody receives the mail. We see it all the time. Unless we hand deliver it ourselves, or if it's certified mail, these will be certified.
Okay.
The code mandates that these be certified. And with that said, unfortunately, that is quite a bit of a turnaround. By the time we would get that notice back, the process may be done already.
Okay, board members, what is your decision?
Do we need a motion on this, or is that?
Do we
I
need a
believe-
motion? Or-
I think at this point, what I would recommend you do is make a motion that you are in agreement as a board that in the event the ordinance is passed by the Board of City Commissioners, that you would be willing to serve in this capacity as the city weed board.
I would make that motion.
Okay. You have that motion down.
I'll second that.
Second by Pat. Any further discussion? Okay, Sean,
Aye.
Pat,
Aye.
Trevor,
Aye.
Bruce? I'll vote aye. Okay, we'll check our weed board out there. Okay, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank the board for taking on the responsibility.
You're welcome, I think. Anything else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I motion to adjourn.
Motion by Trevor, second by
Second.
Sean. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you for everyone for coming.